In the last series, we actually explained and gave major differences between prokaryote and eukaryote. We listed 9 features, and of course, to those of you who have not yet watched the video, you want to make sure that you go and watch the video so that you are going to see exactly what were the features we listed in the last series. And of course, I'm also going to put the link below this video so that after watching this particular video on the differences of these two, you can still go ahead to click the link below directly and watch the first series based on the differences between prokaryote and eukaryote. So looking at the next remaining 4 major features of prokaryote and eukaryote as differences, I want to complete the formula which we stated in the last series. And in the last series, we talked about using the formula FOPCGERN, which is FOPCGERN, and we stated that the first 4 letters, which is FOPC, FOPC, which is the 4 first letters, are square and cube. That is, F is square, O is square, P is square, and C is cube. All of these particular square and cube have a representation of what they stand for and the major differences which we have listed in the last series. Here, of course, I'm going to proceed with the remaining 4 and to see the features differences between these two, prokaryote and eukaryote. And completing this formula, which is GERN for Gern, we are going to begin with the first, which is G, and what G stands for. Looking at the first letter of this, that is GERN, we want to start at G, since we have already mentioned the other features for FOPC, and now want to begin at Gern, GERN. So G as the first letter of this particular ending is going to stand for genetic material. We both know that, of course, both prokaryote and eukaryote have DNA. The genetic material here is the DNA, but we want to give the major difference of the DNA between these two, since both have DNA. First, we want to look at that of prokaryote. The DNA of prokaryote is circular, but that of eukaryote is linear. Now, there is this difference I want to make here. First, when we talked about how organisms are classified, we talked about the differences, which is prokaryote or eukaryote under the different kingdoms. First, knowing that based on the DNA placement, we want to look at the fact that for prokaryote, the DNA is not being enclosed by any membrane, and they do not have any true nucleus. As a result, the DNA lies freely in the cytoplasm without being enclosed by any membrane. On the other hand, for eukaryote, they do have DNA which is being surrounded by membrane, and they do have a true nucleus. That is where the name originated from. We have eukaryote and prokaryote. Prokaryote simply means that they do not have a true nucleus. In other words, pro simply means that before, which means they do not, and the term prokaryote. The other hand, which is eukaryote, U simply means a true, which means they have a true nucleus, and of course, they are being surrounded by membrane. So the major feature here, which is the G that we are stating, which stands for genetic material, that stands for the DNA itself. In prokaryote, or for prokaryote, we are stating that the DNA material here is circular and they do not have any nucleus. They are not being surrounded by any membrane. But on the other hand, for eukaryote, here, their DNA here is linear and they are being contained in the nucleus. In other words, they do have a true nucleus. Now, looking at the next letter here, which is E, we want to look at what it stands for as the feature. E simply means for evolutionary origin. That is, we want to look at how old or the number of years it has been. For prokaryote, it has been for 3.5 thousand million years ago, but for eukaryote, it has been for 1.2 thousand million years ago. So that's the difference in terms of the evolutionary origin. So for this feature, we want to talk about how old it has been. While for prokaryote, it is talking about 3.5 thousand million years ago. Eukaryote, on the other hand, is just 1.2 thousand million years ago. So this is the difference. Now, we want to look at arrow for this particular formula, and arrow is going to stand for respiration. And for respiration, organism under prokaryote, which is mostly or mainly bacteria, actually respirate using mesosomes. In other words, the organ they use for respiration is mesosomes. But on the other hand, for eukaryote, what they use in respiration is not mesosomes as for prokaryote, but instead they use mitochondria for aerobic respiration. In other words, we are stating that Prokaryotes, on the other hand, of course, respirate using mesosomes as the organ for respiration. And these are mostly bacteria that undergo this respiration and they use mesosomes. But on the other hand, for eukaryotes, what they use is the mitochondria for aerobic respiration. So we are talking about the difference in how they do respirate, looking at respiration as the feature of this group based on the difference. So if you are being asked to give the major difference on what organs are being used for respiration in terms of prokaryote or eukaryote, you have to know the difference. For prokaryote, they use mesosomes, especially bacteria. And for eukaryote, what they use is mitochondria for aerobic respiration. Now, we want to finalize this with N, which is the last letter of this formula, and N stands for nitrogen fixation. Of course, when we look at nitrogen fixation, for eukaryote, none of them have the ability for nitrogen fixation. But of course, for prokaryote, some of these bacteria have the ability for nitrogen fixation. We are humans and we fall under eukaryote. We don't have the ability for nitrogen fixation, but bacteria can actually do fixation of nitrogen. So this is a different base in feature. Based on the last letter, which is nitrogen fixation, we are going to see that for prokaryote, some of these bacteria or some of the bacteria organism under this group actually undergo or actually can have the ability for nitrogen fixation, but eukaryotes do not. None of them actually undergo or carry out the process of nitrogen fixation. So these are the major differences in the last four letters of this formula. So make sure to stay updated on the quizzes we are going to set for you, and you want to make sure that you like and subscribe so as to stay updated to notifications whenever we upload new video. And without forgetting, the link to the first series based on the features of these is below this video description. And on that series, we have mentioned 9 major feature differences between prokaryote and eukaryote. To those of you who have not watched, you want to make sure to go ahead to watch the video completely. It is very, very relevant. The link to that video is below this video description. Go there now, click on it, and see how you can navigate to watch that video and see the 9 features we have listed as differences between prokaryote and eukaryote. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and see you again in the next upload. And bye-bye for now.